it actually felt like I was gonna
Yeah.
die. Like my body sure thought that we were
Yeah.
in like fight or flight. Like
Yeah.
they could not tell the difference between me role playing in front of Bill and Nick and me being chased to death by a tiger. It was February. I want to say February like 2025 was when I hopped on.
Yeah.
I just invested and I I remember you like dropped something in the group chat. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing like a role play, and I was like, okay, like let me hop
Yeah.
on and see what this is about.
That was it. Yeah, yeah. So it's about February 25. I was working the Objection Box sales training company. And I actually remember, so obviously we had our chat there and we reviewed sales calls, funnily enough, as a sales training company. And Nick Schroeder, go-to guy, he sent in your sales call, right? He said, guys, I just had a great conversation. And so I remember going on to your call, we looked at it, we reviewed it. And funny enough, for someone who's so loud, you were very quiet on that sales call. I mean, even if we got the footage somewhere, right? If we listened to your cadence or your tone of voice, it was very like timid and yeah, not timid, but just kind of like a bit more reserved, which was hilarious. And I don't know if I ever told you this, mate, but your sales call really stood out to me because it was you got on your sales call, and the issue was on there was that you were struggling with handling objections, you were struggling with getting deals over the line, you had a ton of fear, right? And I remember asking Nick, we had a I said, because I was fairly, Nick was way more experienced in sales than me. And I said, she's got a ton of pain around that. Why didn't you go into the pain of it? And he was like, Josh, this girl's dream is so strong and her goal is so big that if I was to like I would crush her dreams if we approach that, and she will do anything to get there. So she probably end up thinking, "Fuck you, I'm gonna go after my dreams anyway. This isn't the place for
Yeah.
me." And that was where and that was the first conversation I'd had of someone actually running towards a goal rather than trying to run away from pain in a B2C context. That was the
Yeah.
first real conversation that I saw. It was a great conversation as well. And I remember that
It
was a
was
big turning point for me. I was like, okay, this is someone who's going to get after it. I know, and that was it. Credit card out. That was it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think you had
literally,
to
I was
put it
like,
across
"Okay,
a
cool."
couple as well, didn't
And
you? You're like,
You know what's
yeah.
funny, Josh, is, like, literally
Hmm.
I didn't even bring that up in my call, but literally a week
Yeah.
before, and, like, we talked about this, was, like, that is when I'd been scammed, like, out of 10K. And then
Yeah,
literally
that was
when
it.
I didn't bring it up, I didn't tell him, like, "Oh, I just
Mhm.
invested in this, I've been scammed." Like, it literally was not an objection, wasn't even, like, a thing in my mind. Like, it was like he didn't even know that this had happened because I was like,
Yeah.
"This is no relevance." Like, I'm just like, "Okay." 'Cause, like, I think the big thing that you learn in sports, which, like, allowed me
Yeah, yeah.
to do really well in sales was they
Hmm.
teach you to, like, embrace failure. And so saying that
Sure.
coach showed me was it takes 20 falls to become a real rider. So every time I fall off, I'd be like, "Heck yeah." Like, you know,
Yeah.
the saying is get back on the horse. So I was just like, "Okay, cool.
Hmm.
This is just what happens. Like, welcome to business. Like, on to the
Yeah.
next thing." Like, I'm not gonna be like and I remember thinking in that moment, I was like, you're at those crossroads of like, okay, you can either literally what we tell our prospects, like hold that sour taste in your mouth and create a generalization of like, oh,
Hmm.
all men
Hmm.
suck, all coaches out there, they're all terrible. I can just be like, okay,
That's
that's
100%.
just a
Hmm.
shitty person. But it's
Yeah.
like I do believe there's good coaches. And after like
Hmm.
binging and like Bill's stuff and speaking to Nick, I was like, all right, let's do it.
Hmm.
Here's the magic 16 digits.
Brilliant. But that was just like what it takes. And one thing, like I will say, just from seeing you in the coaching groups that we've been in and the work that we've done together, um, I can say this hand on heart. I've not seen anyone work as hard as you. And I think the reason why you outgrew or got a lot better than people faster is you just 10x the work rate. There's no two ways about it. I think you can go and ask anyone in any of our coaching groups, any of our sessions, any of our mentors, and you can even look for the group chats in our sessions. All it is work like Emma, outwork. If you guys are not where you want to be, go and look at Emma's work rate, and that's what it is at the end of the day. So it's just that real winner's mentality. It's like I'm here to fucking win. That's it. Whatever winning means to me, whatever success means to me, I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just saw that continually, which is crazy. And I think a lot of people kind of forget that as well. Like whenever they're coming into sales and wanting to do something better for yourself, like you gotta want it. Like you gotta want to get after it. There's no two
Yeah.
ways of about it. No one here is no one could sugarcoat work
And
or do it for you. Got to get after it.
you need to make it inevitable, especially in the
Hmm.
beginning. It's there's such a gap between where you want to go as the game is like, how can I just get as many reps like as quickly as possible?
Yeah,
And I
that
remember
was the
like I
game.
was psycho in the beginning. Like I was tracking my time in 15-minute intervals to make sure
Mhm.
that every waking moment was an ROI based activity. Like that is great.
I know, it's crazy, but it's
I had a
true.
spreadsheet. I had a
Yeah.
spreadsheet. And
Mhm.
I remember because one of my friends,
Mhm.
Rodrigo, who's actually in Colombia as well with
Mm.
me, is
Mhm.
we were accountability partners. So anytime I wouldn't do my 15-minute tracker sheet to the T's, I had to go
Yeah.
do 100 push-ups and send it to him. I remember there was
Yeah.
one day I forgot to fill out like an hour and I sent it and he's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
like I can't believe that you actually did it." I was like, "Of course. You say
Yeah.
you're going to do something, you do it." But I would
Yeah.
I would go on walks and I'd bring like my book. I'd go to the gym, I'd walk on the treadmill.
Mhm.
I would listen to sales calls as I was falling asleep. I would
Yeah.
dream about sales. Like it was like a level of obsession that it's
Yeah,
like
you gotta
I
live
just
it,
I
breathe
can't
it.
even
Yeah.
begin to describe. I mean, I think the thing is anytime that you've got any goal, you get to any level, right? You see this where people
Mm.
get to 10K and they get, they get hesitant to go again. They get hesitant to reinvest. They get
See it all the time.
hesitant to go into the bigger offer. And even for
Mhm.
me now, it's like I'm just like, okay, cool. Like the lessons I learned in like 2025, like were they scary? Were they hard? Yes, but they paid off massively. Well, cool. Because guess what? What gets you to 20K, 50K doesn't get you to 100K and beyond.
No,
So
of
get willing
course.
to go again. And I
Mhm.
listened to this call yesterday, and I immediately, I paid this guy for like more than once. Like I watched one call and
Mhm.
I was like, damn. Why? Because he sold like on that
Mhm.
call, he literally spoke to this. And he was like,
Mhm.
yeah, you're probably, if you're here, you're probably doing pretty good. And I was like, yeah, I'd say so. He's like, you know what good's the enemy of? Best. And I was like, damn.
Yeah. Cold. It's
Sold.
cold.
Sold.
Yeah,
I
done.
literally, I didn't know
Yeah.
what this guy did. I didn't even know what he
Yeah.
offered. I was like, I don't even care what the price is. Like, I'm paying.
Yeah.
I'm paying this guy because he was like, he talked
Yeah.
about standards. He was like, everything you tell yourself you can and can't do. He was like, it's a
Mhm.
scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. He's like, you tell yourself you
Absolutely.
can't afford this, you can't afford this. Stay stuck
Mhm.
where you are. But it's like
Mhm.
where you want to get to has a price,
Yeah.
to pay. So either you pay the price in your time, your sweat, your energy, your blood, your tears, your money to get to
Mhm.
where you
Or you
want to
pay it
go,
in regret.
or you're
And
okay.
regret is a much bigger receipt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's for
Mhm.
any level. Any
Mhm.
level to get to the next level is
Facts.
you're going to
Mhm.
have to go again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh man.
This is
Like
killer
even that's
journey.
just like
Yeah.
crazy to me. It's like even
Yeah.
even this year alone, like I added up and it's like I think I've invested like close to there hasn't been a single month that I haven't invested 10K. Like
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
But there is
absolutely insane.
there has never been a month of moving backwards though, has there? Ever.
No.
Like at what stage in
No.
this have we ever moved backwards? Like not a single time. And I think as well, I mean, the only times I mean, I know that you from our conversation, you haven't had any regrets in anything. It's just a case of push forward, push forward, push forward.
People
Like,
ask me this all the time
yeah.
and it's just like I don't have any regrets because
Yeah.
to me, anytime I want to do something, I do it because I just think like I always play like devil's advocate. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
could I live with losing $10,000? Could like what would I genuinely if I was to sit here 10 years later, what would genuinely sit better in my mind? Like I gave it my all, I invested 10K and I didn't get to where I wanted to go, or I didn't and I have to live with the weight and the regret of
Mhm.
what if I did do it and
Yeah.
it worked? I guess this
Yeah.
and one of my favorite things I saw on Instagram the other day was if you can overthink the worst, don't forget to overthink the best. I
Ooh,
was like,
that's a good
right?
one. I haven't heard that. I
Right?
want to take that away for today. That's a winner.
That
Yeah, I
was
love that.
that was a line
Yeah.
and a half. I was like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
honestly.
it's killer. I
But
mean,
I do think
yeah. Go on, go on. Go on, talk.
I mean, yeah, I was just gonna
Mm.
touch back on that SATE
Mm.
thing because I remember like I was a very reactive rat for a very long time in my career where I was and I like I see a lot of girls I coach as well is it was a lot of external confidence. So when things were well, when I was closing deals, I was like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking
Mhm.
about. Like I'm like chilling. The second my close rate dipped, the second that I lost the calls, I'd freak out. Even when I was closing really well, like even when we were on that offer together and I had like for that month and
Mhm.
like I was closing at
Mhm.
90%, and I'd lose one call and I was like in tears and I'm texting Ismail, I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm doing. I don't know how to close. Like I
Mhm.
was so reactive and I needed so much external validation. And it was
Mhm.
literally like my entire worth and results were tied to the
Yeah.
KPI.
Whole
It was
identity is tied to the
so
sales.
it was
Yeah.
hot and it was
Mhm.
and that's the thing is that's why it became so emotionally draining is because it was like it literally was like riding like the highs and the lows. For sure. Yeah. And I just see from
Mhm.
so many people, right? Is it's like
Mhm.
they're half in, they're half
Mm.
out. It's like they kind of want it, they spend a couple hours. But I remember when I came in and I was like, I'm making this work. Like come hell or
Mhm.
high water. And it's the way I approach every goal is and this is why every goal becomes like a when you achieve it rather than if you achieve it, because it's just like, it doesn't matter the time it will take. I'm going to continue to do the input. I'm going to continue to
Yeah.
invest in myself. I'm going to continue to get better until I get the outcome.
And you actually had to have a conversation. I remember it's like, am I just getting in my own way? Like with what's going on.
Yeah.
You remember that? And then we had
I do.
we had a call with Laura on state and emotional EQ and how you show up to yourself. And I remember that call really landed. We did a lot of work there. And there was one call that we had where you called me, and it had been we'd spoken a couple of times in a week. You'd be freaking out about stuff, booking one as soon as you had a problem, booking one-to-one sessions, throwing money at things, which was like, it's good for learning. But we had one call where you phoned me and you're like, hey Josh. I was like, what? But like, you hide, like, is everything okay? And I remember thinking, like, and you're like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I've had a bit of a weird day. Like, just calls are just not closing. But honestly, I'm good. Like, I trust myself. I looked at my calls, didn't think there was anything wrong. I'm having like a terrible day, a couple of days in closing, but I'm good. I know myself and I'm cool. And then next week, I think it was the next week, I said to you, I was like, I remember saying, I was like, it will come back. It will just be you're working 2 offers at a time. I said, I bet you're just going to come in and crush it the next day. And it was like that next week, you just were slamming deals like nobody's business that next week. Do you remember? And it was, but the funny thing is when we spoke, we were like, oh, you're not excited? You're cool? And you're like, no, I'm closing deals, but like, I'm cool. I'm good. I'm just going to continue like this. And everything was so consistent and level. There was none of this up, down, up, down. It was just so like kind of controlled, which was amazing. It was like, you noticed your state, you trusted yourself in your skill set, and you swapped that. And it was that evolution, I think, was really what took you even further to that next level. I remember.
And I remember like for the first like week or so, I kind of like hid, which is very common. You see that in a lot of programs, people hiding, not wanting to put themselves in the hot seat. And I remember being like, I recognize this. I recognize what was going on. And I was like, you know what? For 30 days straight, I'm going to raise my hand in every single session, and I'm going to be the first one to do it. And for the first 3 days, I was like, oh my God, I want to die. Like, I feel like I'm going to die. And by the end of it, I was like, you know what? I didn't die. And that taught me a huge thing about confidence, is because I thought I lacked the confidence to do the role plays. But the truth was, the confidence was on the other side of doing the hard thing. It was like the confidence came afterwards by proving to yourself that's like, you can
100%.
do those like hard things. So I remember that was like a huge one, like actually role playing, putting myself in the hot seat, being able to look like a beginner, not caring like, oh, what do my peers think about me? What are they going to say? Like, oh, like I could never come and
100%.
think about it. Like, and just like
Mhm.
being like, who cares? Okay, who
Mhm.
cares? They're all thinking the same thing as well. Then at least
Mhm.
you're brave enough to actually go and do something about it. And
Facts.
then I remember
100%. Mhm.
there was another thing that Bill cooked me on.
Mhm.
And this was when it came to content.
Yeah.
And at the time, like I'd still had so much fear of like many people do, like in the beginning of their sales career, of like, is this going to work? Am I going to make it? Am I good enough? Who am I to
Uh-huh.
talk about this? Who am I to share these things? And Bill asked me, he said, why are you not sharing your journey? And I was like, oh, like I can't, like who am I? And he was like, Emma, by you not sharing what you're learning, where you're at, you are telling the universe that you are not deserving of it. And I
Mhm.
was like,
You're
fuck. And
telling
then
future Emma that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then he was like, as I was like, because he asked me, he said, we talked about the why quite a bit. And
Mm.
I was like, not only do I have big goals, but a huge thing to me I've always just wanted to prove what you can do just by setting your mind to things through hard work and just like really inspire and have impact. Like that has always been a huge driving thing for me. And
Big
he said,
facts.
okay, for
Mhm.
sure. He said, what do you think's more impactful? What's more inspiring? The person that documents the highs, lows, the inner doubts, the things when they go wrong, all the way through to when they win, or the girl that rocks up with a Rolex and living life in Colombia? What do you think? And I was like,
Mhm. Yeah. What do
okay.
people
And I started
really
posting.
respect?
Yeah, and I started
Yeah.
posting the next day, and it was like probably one of the best things that like he said to me. Like just again, it was just that constant pushing me outside of my comfort zone, making me do things that I didn't feel quote unquote ready for. I didn't feel
Mhm.
confident enough.
But they're super
10K.
supportive of you in general, right? As like outside of this.
Yeah, like overall, like like in sports and stuff. But it's a very
Yeah.
like unbeaten path. It's like there's so much. They both went to university. They both, like
Yeah.
my dad was a charter accountant before becoming an entrepreneur. My mom is a
Uh-huh.
director. Like they both do very well. So this was to them like very Like I was like, I'm dropping out of like college and I'm going into high ticket sales. I've just been
Yeah.
scanned. I didn't even tell them actually that I've been scanned, but I was like, yeah, like I don't tell them even to this day
Yeah.
how much I invest because they're just like, well, I tell
Yeah.
my dad because he's more entrepreneurial, but they
Mhm.
didn't understand in the beginning. And
Yeah,
like
just
even
won't
when
get it. Mhm.
yeah, even when I came in, like, my dad was like, you should finish university. It's important to finish the
Mhm.
things that you start. Like, do you think this thing's
Mhm.
actually going to like work? Like, and he and I actually like had a fallout for like a period of months where like we didn't speak.
No way.
I think, yeah, for
Mhm.
about 10
Mhm.
months. For about 10
Mhm.
months, we didn't speak before, because I did other things before coming to sales, but for about 10 months, like we
Mm.
didn't speak. And I was like, in that again, it's like it's your fucking life. Like if there's one
Mhm.
thing I can say, it's your life. It's your responsibility to create the
Mhm.
life that you want to live or to get yourself out of situations you don't like. And if in that moment I've been like, I done what they wanted me to do, is I wouldn't be here having this conversation. Is even though I did not have their support, I did it anyways. And now they are so beyond proud. It's like they
Mhm.
actually cannot even fathom. Like my mom doesn't even understand why I do it, but she's like, oh my God, like you're like an absolute powerhouse. And my dad is like literally, like,
Mhm.
like, it's like, I make more money than any of my cousins, like, anyone, like, at my age in
Mhm.
either side of, like, their family, like, has done it. It's like, I've really, like, gone out
Mhm.
there and just done the thing.
Mhm.
So it's like, now they clap, now they support. Why? Because it's like, I have proof, I have evidence, I built concept. In the beginning, they don't, but
Mhm.
you need to do it anyways, even
Yeah.
without that. I
Milestone.
actually asked ChatGPT from the last year because obviously I speak
Mhm.
to my ChatGPT like a freaking therapist, like any girl. Um, and what do
Yeah.
you think? Who do you think's rocket is? And I said, okay, based on everything I've told you, because I would, again, I've done a lot of exercise with that, is what do you think were the 3 key traits that have allowed me to achieve such amount of success in such a short period of time at a young age? And it said,
Mhm.
number 1 is your extreme ownership and accountability of no matter
Yes.
what is going on, it is
Mhm.
always my fault. And this is where a lot of people don't understand is it's like, oh, it's the marketing, it's the leads, it's this, it's that, it's the offer. Who put themselves in that position? Who took that offer? Who is
Mhm.
it is always, and that's the thing is, like, you know what? You could be right. And then
Mhm.
what? How does
Yeah.
that serve you? By externalizing, by blaming these things, you are literally taking the power away. When you say it is my fault that I'm not making the money I want, that I'm not in the shape that I want, that I'm not in the relationships that I want, that's when you give
Mhm.
your ability to change it. It every single thing is your fault. And when you accept that, you literally change the trajectory. But I
Mhm.
was like, you know what, girls, like I'm
Mhm.
telling you this, but I can see that you guys just don't believe
Mhm.
me. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna show you. I'm gonna show you my first
Mhm.
ever sales call. I'm gonna show you my
Yeah.
sales calls as well when I got sorted. And I had these big
Mhm.
clunky headphones and I came home with it. I was like, "Hi, like, can you hear me?" Like, I was like so like timid and
Yeah.
like shy. And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Like I was like literally like sitting like a mouse. And I was like, so you need to think about it, I guess.
Mhm.
Like if what do you need to think about?" And they showed them my first ever sales call.
Yeah.
And it was just so bad. Like we get Steve objection handling and I'm like, Josh, like
Yeah.
that's completely fine because like I'm someone that likes to like think about it as well and like take my time to make decisions. So like before like our call on one day, and it's so funny. And I think honestly a big thing that
Mhm.
really helped me is I took so many videos back then because I documented because I'm just like I
Mhm.
will tell this story one day. I will look back and I will remember
Mhm.
this moment. And I had
Yeah.
that mentality, and it taught myself. It
Mm.
subconsciously I was telling myself like you're going to make it, and you're going to figure it out by recording, by doing all these things. Is you're
Mhm.
telling yourself that you're going to look back and you're going to be like, if I knew then what I know now. Even as you strive for and you strive for the next level, because there always is the next level. Always, no matter
Mhm.
where you're at in business and sports and life.
Mhm.
Is recognize that where you are today is what you probably prayed for to be in a year's time. Or no.
100%. Yeah,
You
100%.
can be extremely grateful, but still go after more. One does
Mhm.
not cancel out the latter.